Today is going to be another entry into Spotlight Sunday where I highlight cases of the missing, lost, and endangered. Much of the information will be taken from charlieproject.org. I will leave the link for you below. If you find yourself in a financial position to do so, I really encourage you to donate to the site administrator. Upkeep and care of that site, I'm sure, is an arduous task, and she would really appreciate any financial contributions that you would be able to send to her. In addition, I'll be referencing some information from a Facebook group referred to as Our Missing Hearts, and also a newspaper article that I was able to find that gives some slight updates regarding this case. This case is going to be on Delecia Waddy. She has been missing since March 9th, 2017 from Doswell, Virginia. Her classification is missing. She is listed as an African-American female, black hair, hazel eyes. She has multiple tattoos, including hearts on both sides of her collarbone, leopard spots on one arm at one shoulder, a tattoo on the side of her chest, and a tattoo around her wrist. Her ears and one side of her nose are pierced. She is listed as 5'1", 145 pounds. Her last known article of clothing description is a black and white tank top or a halter top, black pants with white stripes on the sides, and a multicolored baseball cap and no shoes. Details of her disappearance are as follows. Delecia disappeared from the Kings Dominion Wilderness Campground in the 10,000 block of Kings Dominion Boulevard in Doswell, Virginia at 11:30 a.m. on March 9, 2017. She tried to bargain for a space in the campground but left without getting one. Early the next morning, her silver Ford Explorer was found near the campground. It had gas and was in working order. Her phone, purse, wallet, driver's license, and some other belongings were found scattered behind Meadow Event Park near her abandoned vehicle. She left a message on her Facebook page saying, "It's never too late to do the right thing. Don't get discouraged. Speaking to myself also." It's unclear what she meant by this and whether this had anything to do with her disappearance. A massive search was launched for her, but the search effort was called off when a witness said they saw her walking in a field off Route 30 in Caroline County, Virginia. Dogs also tracked her scent to a home in Caroline, Virginia. She was sighted on Fendel Avenue in Richmond, Virginia on March 12th by an acquaintance who didn't realize that she was missing at the time. Police stated that they didn't think that she was in any danger, but they never actually found her, and she never made contact with her family members or friends after her disappearance. Her mother called her behavior bizarre and stated that she had never been gone this long without contacting her family. Her case remains unsolved. Then there was just a brief update by the Sheriff's Department, and it mentions that there was someone who came forward and said that they saw her on the 12th. She went missing on the 9th, so that was 3 days later. They did see her, but didn't realize that she was missing, and so they didn't think anything of it, I guess, until they saw the police reports. But the sheriff did call her disappearance strange, or called the circumstances surrounding her disappearance strange. And then her mother also said that she had been acting spacey, quote unquote. In addition to her behavior, reported from the campground and the sheriff and her mother, she was also reportedly without shoes. Now, I'm not quite sure about Virginia weather, but this was March. I know that where I live, March would be pretty cold. Perhaps being the South, this would be a bit warmer temperatures, but still, I can't fathom that she would have walked the distance that she was seen in with no shoes, because I think that the article said that it was about 2 or 3 miles between where she was last seen and then where she was last known to be seen, and then where she was reported to have been seen. And again, I'm not familiar with Virginia, but that does seem to be a pretty decent distance. And while 2 miles can be walked, it's definitely not the easiest thing to do. And I'm not sure about what the terrain was, what type of route she would have had to take. She had to walk along the freeway. It says State Route 30 East. I'm assuming that that's a highway. And so, she's walking on the highway with no shoes, with all the glass and debris and everything else from being on the shoulder of the road. That doesn't seem to be a safe nor easy journey. And then why would she leave her car? So I think that just contributes to the idea that she was not acting rationally, that she was acting quote unquote spacey or quote unquote bizarre, but that she wasn't necessarily lucid and wasn't making wise and appropriate decisions at that particular time. And I'm wondering that if the fairgrounds or the campgrounds actually noticed this and thought that her behavior was a little off, why didn't they call the authorities? Why didn't they, say, hey, there was this woman here, she was acting really weird, particularly if she was trying to negotiate a spot with no shoes and didn't seem to be, completely there. That just seems bizarre to me. And, I do wonder, was she the person that took her personal effects and scattered them behind this event hall? And if so, why? Or, did someone else get a hold of her belongings, which doesn't necessarily seem, it's possible, but it doesn't seem plausible, simply because, if someone took her belongings and was going through it, then I would assume that they would go through it looking for something of value. But because her cell phone was still there, and it says personal items, so I'm not quite sure what else was contained in the personal items, but her wallet was there. Now, that doesn't mean that anything was contained in the wallet. So, of course, if debit cards and credit cards and things were missing, or cash, that might indicate that she wasn't the person that did that. However, there have been no activity on her credit cards or her debit cards. So, the theory that someone decided to take those items in a robbery, if in fact they were missing, because it doesn't say it in this article, I'm simply speculating, then, that would just be a robbery that was nonsensical. It didn't make any sense to even do that. And the idea that, there was gas in her car and the car was in working order, but yes, she left on foot, not just on foot, but barefoot. That is the part that is really getting to me. And then if she was seen walking, I'm not quite sure if people are in the habit of seeing women walking on the side of the road without shoes and, without proper clothing, because she was in a halter top. And again, I'm not quite sure about Virginia weather in March, but I don't feel as though it would be tropical by any stretch of the imagination at 11 something in the morning. I don't know if maybe she didn't look out of place. I don't want to, get deeper in the weeds with that. But it would seem to me that if she looked out of place, if she didn't really look like she was altogether there, particularly if she was barefoot, why wouldn't anyone call the authorities? But again, maybe she didn't give any kind of indication with her demeanor, her behavior. Maybe she just appeared to be someone who was walking. And to be fair, when you're on the freeway or the highway and you're zipping by people at 60, 65 miles an hour, maybe it's something that you don't even notice. I do wonder about this house that her scent was tracked to. Who did that house belong to? Was it anybody that Delecia knew? Was it anyone that the family knew? It could have been just that she went up on the porch, especially if she was acting not herself. She went up to the porch, maybe tried to gain entry, maybe, knocked on the door and no one was there. Or she could have just simply walked past the house or walked in the backyard. But it doesn't say anything about whether or not they were able to pick up a scent after she left the house. Did she actually go in? Were the dogs able to pick up a scent into the house? And if so, again, who owned the house, who lived in the house, what would be the reason for her to visit that house? That is an interesting angle. One of the most difficult things about this is, she seemingly vanished into thin air. And, it's very difficult because she apparently was not in her right mind. So, we don't know if it was a break that she was experiencing at that particular time, if there was something that was leading up to that, if she had this type of behavior before. The family said that it was uncharacteristic for her to be away this long, but had she ever left for even a short time before and hadn't gotten in touch with the family, and perhaps this was typical of her. And, what does she want? What space does she want at the campground? That would be interesting to know too. Because if she really wasn't altogether lucid, then, she may have just been wanting to have a space for her truck, and maybe that was why she was denied and she just left everything behind. But again, there's really no way to know because no one really said anything, and she didn't have any conversation with anyone after the campground, although mom did say that she had been acting really bizarre up to the time that she disappeared. I wonder, though, if anyone has tried to get in touch with her acquaintances or her friends that she may have been associating with at the time. I can't imagine that she would be able to support herself this long without any money, no identification, no personal belongings, no nothing, not even shoes. Who would she be able to be with for that long and they not know that she was actually missing, unless she wound up in a shelter or some other type of social service agency where perhaps they're unaware that she's missing. At any rate, there is a investigation that is still ongoing. If you have seen Delecia or if you have any information on her whereabouts, please contact Morris Investigations at 888-756-6825, or you may contact Crime Stoppers at 804-780-1000. Again, this case is on Delecia Waddy. She's been missing since March 9th, 2017, and if you have any information that may help rejoin Delecia with her family, please call the numbers that I previously have given with any tips that you may have. No matter what, it's time to bring Delecia home. Y'all be blessed.